All right, Unit 3 test review. We had Friday to work on this. You got the weekend to hopefully watch this video, get caught up, check your work on the review, and be ready for Monday's test. Starting with number 1, we're trying to find the equation of the graph and the x-intercept. The equation is going to look like y equals mx plus b. To find the m, our slope, we're going to do our rise over run. Looks like we're rising 4, running 3. So y equals 4/3 x. Our y-intercept, our b, is just where it crosses the y-axis, which is at 4. So there's our equation. The x-intercept is where it crosses the x-axis over there at -4. Nope, -3, sorry. Wrote that wrong. Over to the left 3. There we go. So, equation, x-intercept. Second line over here, same thing. Y equals, we need our slope. This is a negative line, a negative slope, so going down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, over 2. So -5 over 2, x, plus, now our y-intercept is not really visible here, but if we follow the slope, the pattern of the slope, up 5 over 2, up 5 more over 2, we're going to be at 10, because we're going up 5, then up 5 more. So, -5 over 2x plus 10. X-intercept, 1, 2, 3, is over 4. +4. So there's our equation, there's our x-intercept. Another way of finding the x-intercept, which I guess will come into play more on the next few problems, if you plug in a 0 for the y value, that's where you find the x-intercept. So 4, 0 is the x-intercept for this. Our y value has to be 0. So you could have gone to this equation up here, plugged in a 0 for the y, solve for x, and you'll end up with 4. Number 3 and 4, convert the following equations to slope-intercept form. That's y equals mx plus b. And identify the slope, y-intercept, and the x-intercept. Now, the slope and y-intercept are going to be in the equation. Those are your m and b. So if you can get the equation, then it really tells you the slope and the y-intercept. The x-intercept is going to be a different problem. We're going to have to do some more work to get the x-intercept. So let's start with solving for y. I want to isolate the y here. I want to get it all by itself. That means I need to cancel out the 3x. So minus 3x to both sides. -2y is -3x minus 8. Divide by -2, and you end up with y equals +3 over 2x plus 4. We're just dividing each one of these numbers by -2. So there's our equation. That makes our slope 3 over 2, our y-intercept +4. Now for our x-intercept, we need to make the y value equal 0. Not 6, that's a 0. So I can take either equation. I can take the original equation. No, don't scroll. What are you doing? There we go. I can take the original equation here, or I can take my new equation here and solve for x after I make the y 0. This has fractions in it, so I'm not going to use that. I want to use the original equation up here, 3x minus 2 times 0 equals -8. So 2 times 0 is 0, so that's just nothing. 3x minus nothing is just 3x equals -8. Divide by 3, and you end up with x equals -8/3. That is our x-intercept. Part B, whole separate equation. I didn't want to renumber everything, so I just made it A and B. If not, I would have had to renumber everything else in the review. So you get an A and a B. 2x plus 10y equals 10. We're solving for y again, trying to isolate the y. Minus 2x from both sides. And you get 10y equals negative 2x plus 10. Divide by 10, and you go y equals negative 2 divided by 10 is just negative 1/5. You must reduce these to lowest terms if you want to get it counted right. X plus 10 over 10 is 1. So there's our equation. Y equals negative 1/5 x plus 1. Our slope is negative 1/5. Our y-intercept is 1. Our x-intercept is when we take this equation, 2x plus 10y equals 10, and we make the y 0. So 2x plus 10 times 0 is just 2x plus 0, which is just 2x, equals 10. Solve for x, divide by 2, and our x is 5, which means our x-intercept is 5. So I worked those two. To save some time on the video, I'm not going to work number 4. I will give you the answer though. Alright, here's your answer for 4a and b. Your equation is going to be y equals 3x plus 3. So that means your slope is 3, the y-intercept is 3, the x-intercept ends up being negative 1. Something I do want to point out here is this step right here. When you get negative y equals negative 3x minus 3, that is not finished yet. The negative y is not in slope-intercept form. We have to pretend like that's a negative 1y so we can divide both sides by negative 1, and that is how we get rid of the negative. That gives us positive y equals positive 3x plus 3. Kind of the same thing happens a little bit right here. We have just the x plus 15. Well, when I divide by 3, I need to think of that as a 1x plus 15. So I get 1/3 x for my slope right there. Y equals x over 3. We don't really want to use that as our answer. We want to actually have the m as the coefficient of x, not have our x within this fraction. That's an ugly x. X over 3. That's what we don't really want. So mathematically they're the same, but this is the way we want to do it. 1/3 x plus 5. So slope is 1/3. Y-intercept is 5. X-intercept, when you plug in y 0 for y, you get negative 15. Number 5, 6, 7, and 8, you are finding the equation of a line that passes through these two ordered pairs. This is where we're going to use the slope formula, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That gives us the slope. Then we're going to have to use the point slope formula, which is y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. So you're going to need both those formulas. I'm going to give them to you on the test, so don't worry about memorizing them, although you should probably have them memorized by now. But if you don't, no big deal. Our slope, y minus y is 12 minus 6. X minus x is 1 minus negative 1. Change that to 1 plus 1. We end up with 6 over 2 for our slope, which reduces to 3. That's my m. Down here with the point slope formula, we're going to plug in one of the 2 points. Doesn't really matter which one. I'll take this one. Smaller numbers. There is a negative 1, but usually I will try to avoid negatives. It's all the same though. We get the same answer either way. So now I'm going to say y minus y1. Well, here's my x1 and here's my y1. So y minus 6 equals m. We just found m. That's 3. Parentheses x minus x1, which is negative 1. Again, we have a change to plus there. All I have to do now is solve for y. So 3x plus 3 equals y minus 6. We'll then add 6 to both sides, and you end up with y equals 3x plus 9. There's our equation. A way you can check this. I haven't really talked about this much in class yet, but if you take your x and y and plug them into x and y, see if that equation is right. My y is 12, so is 12 3 times 1 plus 9? And it does come out to be true. Same thing with the other point. Is y is 6 3 times negative 1 plus 9? Yes, it is. So I know that is correct. Number 6. Finding the slope first. Start with our slope formula, which is the change in y over change in x. We have 2 minus 2 over 4 minus negative 6. Change there to 0 over 10, which is 0. Now, a lot of times y'all want to stop the whole problem here because you got a weird 0, but it's a normal problem with normal equation. We can continue just like we did over here on number 5. Now that I have the m, I'm going to use one of my points. Doesn't matter which one. I'll take 4, 2. That's x and y. And I'm going to plug it into the point slope formula there. Y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. So y minus 2 equals 0, parentheses, x minus 4. 0 times anything is always going to be 0. 0 times this whole set of parentheses is just 0. So I don't need to worry about distribution because I'm going to get 0 times this and 0 times that, which is all 0. So I have y minus 2 equals 0 here. Add 2 to both sides, and you end up with y equals 2. We could say 0x plus 2 if we really wanted the mx to show up there, but it's not necessary to have the 0x in there. Best answer for this is just y equals 2. 7 and 8, very similar. I'm going to save some time by not showing you all the work there, but I'll pause the video, work them out, and let you see my answers. Alright, here is 7 and 8 for you. The equation here, we got y equals 3x minus 1. Just a coincidence that the slopes matched up, 3 and 3, and then same over here, 0 and 0. I just found 4 random problems here, and they coincidentally matched up. Make sure you simplify this fraction. Do not leave it 6 over 2. Do not leave it 3 over 1. We want just plain 3. When we go through the whole process, we get 3x minus 1 for that equation. For number 8, we get y equals 9 for that equation. The 0 slope made the x go away, the 0x. So there's 7 and 8. While out on Halloween, I get 3 pieces of candy per house I go trick-or-treating at. At the end of the night, I stole 37 pieces of candy from my little brother's bag. Write an equation showing how much candy I ended up with as a function of how many houses I visit. No, I do not go trick-or-treating on Halloween, and I do not steal candy from my little brother. I put myself in the mind of a kid here when I wrote this problem. So, where are we at? Write an equation. So, the pieces of candy I get is going to equal 3 per house. That's 3x. Plus this extra 37 that I steal. So that's going to be the total candy that I get. 3 per house plus 37 extra. Is 175 a reasonable range value for the above situation? The way we figure that out, we have to remember what range means. Domain and range was unit 1. Domain is the input, which is the x values, or the input. The range is the y values, or the output. So, if you remember up on the poster I have Dr. XY. Lost his ID, it says. So, domain is x, range is y. They want to know if 175 is a reasonable y value, or range, or output. So, can I get 175 pieces of candy while I'm out trick-or-treating? Well, let's plug it into the equation to see. 175 equals 3x plus 37. I'm going to minus 37 from both sides, and we end up with what is this? What is this? Long pause. Sorry for that. I had to get a calculator. 138 equals 3x. Divide by 3, divide by 3. 138 divided by 3. I know that's going to be divisible evenly. It comes out to be 46 equals x. So that is a domain value of x. When I plug in 46 to my input, 46 houses, I'm going to get 175 pieces of candy. So yes, this is a reasonable range value because that is doable there. I can go to 46 houses. Now, something that's not reasonable, if I'd gotten something like x equals 46.3 houses, that's not going to work. You can't really go to 0.3 houses, not going to be able to do that. So that was the idea on this question. I was looking to see if you realize that decimals don't work, only whole numbers do work. So 175 is a very reasonable amount of candy that we could get here. Number 10, 11, and 12, I give you a graph. All you got to do is tell me the equation of it. I told you to skip number 10, but I'm going to go ahead and show you what's going on here. We're going to get to this next week, so it's not on this test. We did look at vertical lines like this. If we're trying to find the equation, that means we need the slope and the y-intercept. Well, the slope here is undefined. So we don't really have a number slopes. We can't plug a number in for x. The y-intercept is where this line crosses the y-axis. Well, they don't cross. So there's not a y-intercept. The way we write this equation, since it's a vertical line, it's not a function. If we use our vertical line test, it doesn't pass that. That means it is not a normal equation, like y equals mx plus b. Vertical lines actually get the equation x equals something, not y equals. In this case, 1, 2, 3, 4, the line is shifted to the right 4, so x equals 4 is the answer to that. So that's the equation for number 10. I know I told y'all to skip that, but if you're watching this video, you might want to remember all that because you could see this as a bonus question sometime. So remember how to do those. Number 11 is a horizontal line. The horizontal line has a slope of 0. So when I'm writing my equation, y equals mx plus b, the m is 0. So 0x. My y-intercept is down 3, so minus 3. Well, we don't really need to have the 0x in there. We could leave it just y equals negative 3. There's my equation there. Number 12, there we have a normal line. We can actually find the full equation. The m is my slope. I need 2 points. I see a point there and a point there. You could use any 2 points along here. You could use one here, or here, or here. It doesn't matter. I saw these two stand out first, so I'm going to use those two. Count the rise, count the run, and divide rise over run. You must reduce your fraction if you want to get it right, which comes out to be 1/2. So y equals 1/2 x plus b. Our y-intercept here is, again, down 3, so minus 3. There's our equation. 13, Caleb's starting a new diet in order to lose weight. The equation y equals 225 minus 5x can be used to calculate y, his weight, as a function of x, the number of weeks since he started his diet. So, if I know how many weeks it's been, I can plug in that number for x. That would give me some answer y, which would be his weight. So they want to know what the y-intercept is representing and what the slope is representing. So if you look at this equation, kind of analyze what's going on there. His weight is starting at 225 pounds. Every week he's losing 5 pounds. So minus 5 times however many weeks he's losing. However many weeks he's been on his diet, I guess. So that's what the equation is. 225 would be his starting weight. And the slope, -5, is the weight lost per week. That per week is the most important part of that answer. Got to have per week. You can't just say the weight lost. You can't just say he's losing 5 pounds. It's 5 pounds per week. Very important. After 6 weeks, what will his weight be? Well, we go back to our equation, and where x was, we put in 6 weeks. So 6. 225 minus 30 is going to be 195 pounds. Number 14, similar to 13, Caleb's brother, starting a different diet. 2 weeks after starting his diet, he weighed 190 pounds. I don't know what he weighed at the beginning, but I know after 2 weeks, that's what he weighed. I can think of that as an ordered pair, 2, 190. 5 weeks after, he weighed 166. At what rate is he losing weight? Rate, keyword there. Rate is slope. So I can see that he has lost 24 pounds. 190 minus 166. That's 24 pounds. Well, how long did it take him to lose all that weight? Well, I don't know when he started. It doesn't matter when he started, but from week 2 to week 5, that was 3 weeks. 5 minus 2 is 3. So over a 3-week period, he lost 24 pounds, which means he's losing 8 pounds per week. So that's the rate he's losing weight. Good luck with this. I will be here for tutoring Monday morning before the test if you have any questions. Any missing work, late work, makeup work, anything has to be turned in to me by Monday. Got any questions, you can email me, message me back on Remind, and I'll help you out as best I can. Good luck.